evening and welcome. You're watching Newsroom Newsbreak. I'm Soru Nirupsa Kapoor. Two stories on our minds at 6 o'clock this evening. One, of course, is the story of Disha Ravi. One more day she will have to spend in police custody. That's what the courts have ruled. And then we'll be talking about the fuel prices as well. But first up, about Disha Ravi, the 22-year-old climate activist arrested in the toolkit case earlier this month, has been sent on a fresh one-day police custody. The police and the Delhi court before which she was produced after being arrested in Bengaluru had reserved the order for a bail requested last week, remember. The Delhi police has accused her and activist Nikita Jacob and Shantanu Muluk of collaborating with pro-Khalistani group Poetic Justice Foundation for creating what is now known as a toolkit allegedly linked to the farmers' protest on January 26 that triggered dissatisfaction against the government. Now, they have also accused the three of them of trying to revive a pro-Khalistani group. The online toolkit was merely a resource document. It did not show any disaffection. That is what she told the court today while moving her bail plea last week, and she said that as an activist her cause was that for the environment and agriculture, not Khalistan.
Was asking for a 5-day extension of police custody. They were making an argument that since it only has 7 days of police custody by the law available to them, they needed 5 days of police custody to interrogate Disha Ravi further and to confront her with Shantanu Muluk and Nikita Jacob. Now the police made submissions, the counsel of the police made submissions in the court stating that Disha tried to shift the entire blame on Nikita and Shantanu, and that exactly is the reason that they wanted to confront both of these co-accused in front of Disha. Now let's remember that earlier in the case, the Delhi police had earlier as well cited that Disha tried to shift the entire blame rather on these two people. However, today the Delhi police also said that in the Zoom meeting that is in question right now, that happened on 11th and 17th of January, and when in which meeting Ahmed Haliwal of Poetic Justice Foundation and Ankita Lal were also present. Disha Ravi was not part of that particular Zoom call meeting. In fact, the only blame that the Delhi police, or rather the only way they could connect Disha's link as far as the toolkit is concerned is by stating that Disha had forwarded the toolkit to Greta Thunberg on 3rd of February. Disha had earlier as well stated that she only edited 2 lines in that particular toolkit, and that too happened on 3rd of February. The police also said that there was a WhatsApp group that was made by Disha Ravi in which these two people, Nikita and Shantanu, were a part. So they were trying to link all of these dots. However, still it was a bit sketchy that what exactly is the link between Disha and the violence that took place on 26th of January in the national capital. Also, while making arguments, the defense said that the police, while asking for a 5-day of police custody, is trying to overreach the bail order that is reserved for tomorrow. As day before yesterday, bail hearing took place at the Patiala Session Court only, and in which strong arguments were made as far as bail of Disha Ravi is concerned. So by asking for a 5-day of police custody, in a way the Delhi police is trying to overreach as far as the order is concerned. They are trying to overreach that. And today we saw that the 1-day police custody that has been given, which means that interrogation will begin as soon as Disha Ravi is taken to the cyber cell, because Nikita Jacob as well as Shantanu Muluk both are already there. They arrived today morning only, and they are being interrogated by the cyber cell. And now when Disha Ravi is also taken to Dwarka at the SIPAD, she also will be confronted, and thereon the police can further investigate the role of these two people and the role of Disha Ravi as far as this entire controversy is concerned. But it will be very, very interesting to see what happens tomorrow, because tomorrow in the Patiala House Court only the bail order is due, and in all likelihood the counsel, the defense of Disha Ravi is stating that she will be granted bail. However, they also said that they are not implying anything at this moment, but stating that Disha Ravi had no role as far as the violence is concerned, and her name is being dragged into this matter.
Alright, so one more day she will have to be behind bars, and then the court will review whether or not she goes into judicial custody or is she granted bail. All of that is up for discussion. Meanwhile, let's try and understand so many opinions when it comes to this case, because it's not just about her, it's about so many others who are now named, and there could be a possible fallout of what happens with Disha on those cases as well. We're joined by Sanjay Hegde over here, Ashutosh Srivastav as well. Sanjay Hegde, first to you. We've been discussing this over the past past week. You and I have been speaking about it. But the key question here is, you can say there is a lot of back and forth, and you can debate about the case the police has made out in this case, the manner of her arrest, a lot of that. But the fact that the court has once again sent her in police custody, there seems to be some evidence that what do you think is that the court would have relied upon?
No, it's not. You can't make prejudgments on the evidence. The court is not saying that, oh, because there is evidence, I'm sending you to police custody. What the court is saying is that the police needs to gather evidence, the police needs to confront you with the others. The police want 5 days of custody, but your bail application is coming up, the judgment is coming tomorrow. So, to dovetail with everything, I'm giving 1 day's custody, and then we will see what the situation is. Say, supposing tomorrow in the morning or in the afternoon, the Sessions Court grants bail, then the police remand will also end by the end of the day, and she can go home. If on the other hand there is no bail granted, the court can take a relook and say, okay, you've got 1 day's remand, you've done most of your work. How much more do you want? And the court can take an appropriate call.
Right. And what do you say in connection to the other two who have been named, who are currently being questioned as well?
Well, the other two have protection. They are being questioned. They have joined the investigation. They are cooperating with the investigation, I assume. At the end of the day, this is not something which the police can crack by interrogation, even custodial interrogation.
Why do you say that?
And the reason I say that is that it is highly unlikely that there will be any confessions against the interest of the maker. One of them is a lawyer. Most of this case has been debated dry in the media, so all points have more or less been covered. The routine confrontation can happen. Thereafter, whatever evidence has to be gathered is basically electronic evidence with regard to mobile phones or laptops and other personal devices, if any.
I see.
The police may have to actually go to Bangalore, collect it, Bangalore, Bombay, wherever, collect those, then see what other electronic evidence can be taken either from the cloud or from the machines themselves.
So that brings me to the question then, Sanjay Hegde, and I know Ashutosh is waiting, I'll go to him also in just a bit. What was the need of the arrest of this 22-year-old then? They could have got all this electronic evidence simply asking her to join the probe.
That is for the police to justify, but very often in this country, the problem is that no sooner is an FIR filed and that there is attention in the media, the police want to justify it by arresting, producing before the cameras, having a kind of morality play for everybody to talk about and shudder about. It's essentially the optics of the situation, to my mind.
All right, sad optics indeed, and that means a 22-year-old is behind bars. But the fact also is, Ashutosh, same question to you then, what really justifies, I haven't heard an argument strong enough, at least at this point, which talks about how this 22-year-old had to be put behind bars, arrested in the manner in which she was arrested from Bengaluru, brought here overnight without the council being informed about her hearing going on at Patiala House Court. What justifies all of this?
Yes, I'll just answer it. See, whenever an FIR is registered against a certain accused, the accused have the rights to approach the appropriate court and to get some kind of relief, pre-arrest relief or maybe anticipatory bail. But I think in this particular case, somehow Disha might not be knowing about her rights, or maybe she was not aware about the FIR, otherwise she would have approached the appropriate court to get some kind of relief, which she has unfortunately not received.
The criticism is she was never given the time.
Yes,
the criticism is she was never given the time.
Now, whenever an FIR is registered about, about the charges or maybe the allegations of serious kind of crimes, the police, undertakes to arrest a person only for the purpose of investigation, and that person should not go out and tamper with the evidences which could be crucial to the decision of the case. So I'm not justifying the police in this particular case, but that could also be a reason that that the police arrested because she goes out or maybe she meets with other witnesses and then the investigation could not take place in the right direction. So here the arrest is not because she has been convicted or anything, it is just for the purpose of investigation. And I think if the investigation is complete by the Delhi police as of now, and the matter is pending for tomorrow for the decision of the court regarding the bail.
But Ashutosh, can I ask you this? A lot of critics of what has happened with the arrest of Disha have said that this has been done to set an example of sorts, that this is going to happen if young girls or youngsters in general go out and try to raise their voice against the government. Don't you think it's been counterproductive at this point doing this? People are only getting more enraged by what has happened now.
See, what I feel is that this is not the first time. If you see, even during the independence time, many of the big leaders, they were arrested because they were voicing something against the government. Now the question is, if Delhi police had substantial evidence against Disha, what she has done or whatever, in that case only the FIR could be justified in future. Now we have to see how the courts take it further, because it is not only the police who has all the absolute rights to arrest anybody and do whatever they want, because there is a court also involved. If a person is arrested within 24 hours of the arrest, the person has to be produced before the court, and without the permission of that particular court, no further extension of arrest or custodial remand can be extended.
You're absolutely right. Let me give that closing comment to Sanjay Hegde. At the end of the day, Sanjay Hegde, it was the court which sent her into police custody.
Yes, because she had been produced before the court. The question of illegal arrests and all that can come in subsequent proceedings. The court should not have mechanically remanded her. That is the criticism that even Justice Deepak Gupta has made. But somehow or the other, all kinds of remands happen before the magistrate. The magistrate on a weekend, suddenly somebody is produced. Okay, do you want police remand? How long? Okay, take it. This is how things happen.
Right.
The magistracy must be in the forefront of defending the civil liberties of the citizens. More and more young magistrates are taking office. I hope they do a good job.
All right, on that note, we leave it there. We've been tracking this case very, very closely. We've got our eyes on that, and we'll be bringing you all the updates as it comes in for hearing tomorrow.